Hello, this is Simon Smalley for Lightwave 3D, and in today's tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to use Raycasting to create a floating boat that interacts with an undulating ocean. So let's get started. So here we are in Modeler. All I'm going to do first is create a plane. I'm going 50 meters by 50 meters, and we'll center that. And then I'm going 60 segments in X and 60 in Z. Okay, so we've just got a nice grid of polygons there. Let's just give that a surface. Save that, and then in another layer I've just made this very crude boat just for demonstration purposes. So I'll get those in layout. We have something like this. So this is going to be our ocean, and we'll get our boat to bob up and down using the ray tracing. What I'm going to do is select my ocean plane, and under people properties I'm just going to come in and select hot ocean. Where are we? There we go. Okay, this is just default settings. This isn't a tutorial on how to use hot ocean. I'm just using it to basically create the undulating ocean surface so we can get our boat bobbing up and down and reacting to the animation. Okay, so I'll come to top view now. I'm just going to create some nulls so we can create a small little rig which hopefully will do what we need it to. So I'm going to create a null, and that will be a ball and 0.5, I think. So we'll call this the rear. We're going to move that to the rear of the boat. Okay, and then we're going to clone that, move that to the side. We'll call that rear left, and we'll clone that, move that to the other side, and that'll be rear R. Then we're going to clone the rear, and I'm going to move that to the front, and that'll be our front control. And one more, and this is going to be our master. So this is what everything gets parented to, so we can move the boat around as we need to. So first off, what we're going to do is just drag all of these nulls under the master. So now they move around with our master control. So what we're going to do here is take this rear, and I'm going to hit the equals key and create a bone. Okay, and that we are going to make that point at the front. So target item, front. Under people properties we can just change the rest length there so we can see it. There's the length of our boat. So next we are going to select the rear left. We're going to do exactly the same thing, but we're going to point that at the rear right. Okay, so now if I select this front, you can see the bones pointing to the front node there, and we've got the same with this one, which we're going to use to create our banking for our boat. Okay, so now the power of this comes from how we arrange these nodes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to parent the rear to the bone we've got along the back. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is get the boat, and I'm going to parent that to this main boat. So now I'll move the front. We've got this, and we've got our bank here, right? So far so good. So first thing we're going to do now is actually look at ray tracing this null. So I'm going to come to motion options, add modifier, and that is going to be nodal motion. Okay, you can see here I've just searched for ray, and that gives us our raycast geometry. So I'm just going to double click that and select our ocean plane, and under intersect we're going to plug that into position, and hopefully now we'll see that moving up and down. So when I press play here, you can see it's not really doing what we want it to. It's pushing down. The issue we've got is it's looking for rays below that point. So if we just raise this up, 8 meters or so, you see that now gets all the motion we need. So I'm just going to copy this nodal motion, and then under the rear L, I'm going to paste that, and again I'm going to move that up, and then rear R, I'm going to paste that as well, and then move this one up. So hopefully now when we press play, we've got an interactive animation for a floating boat. So now the power of this comes in, where we can take the master and we can move that anywhere we want. We can rotate. We could even just make a little animation. We could start it here and at the end over to about here. So here we have our little animation of our boat traveling up and down on the waves. Very simple to animate, and all of the interaction is automatic based on the raycasting. So we do have the option as well to make adjustments. You can see here, because the boat is actually just parented in here, if we wanted to sort of change the height of the boat in the water, we can keyframe that. We can keyframe extra rocking on the boat if we wanted to, and all of the raycasting then is completely separate and won't be affected by any animation you make on the boat. So hopefully you found this tutorial useful, and I'll see you next time.